Twin
Welcome to Twin Films. This is our first episode. I'm Ernesto Sandoval.
Hey, I'm Drew Barnett Hamilton. Welcome to Twin Films.
We're going to be breaking down Volcano and Dante's Peak. And Drew, what is Twin Films? Can you inform our listeners?
Thanks for asking, Ernesto. Twin Films are films with the same or similar plots produced and released around the same time by two different film studios. Bum, bum, bum. It's kind of been going on since the beginning of film.
Yes.
The phenomenon results in two or more production companies putting money into similar scripts around the same time. These films come to audiences around the same times and often compete at the box office. So we're going to break down some. We're going to just pick a lot at random. Come with us on the journey as we pick film versus film.
Yeah, so thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy this episode. As I said, we're breaking down Volcano versus Dante's Peak.
So here's how it's going to go down. So we're going to have 3 rounds. If you haven't watched either of the films, please be advised there are spoilers. Ernesto, warn the people. We're going to tell them everything. We're going to tell you who dies.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about spoilers with these movies, so don't be upset. Okay? We're warning you.
You heard the man. Okay, so round 1, we got basic plot, just overview stuff. Round 2, we're going to kind of go over crew, like some behind the scenes fun stuff, and then get into the cast.
We've already started arguing about this shit. I'm really
no,
upset.
this is like intellectual banter.
Fucking A, man. We already talked about the movies, and I'm like, are you serious right now? Anyway, go ahead.
How did you like that?
Yeah, what the fuck?
And that brings us to the third round, which is action, which is probably my favorite round. We'll talk about special effects, VFX, how they made shit. We're actually going to have some special guests when we're able that are part of the crew or the cast of the film that are going to delve into special little Easter eggs from behind the scenes. And trust me, we watched everything we could. So you don't have to, but we will tell you all the fun stuff.
Yeah, like if you ever watch Volcano and you're like, fuck, I really want to learn like just what Tommy Lee Jones was going through, we're gonna tell you. At least, I mean,
he did not seem very interested in the movie.
Not
From
at all.
the
I'm sure
behind
he
the
got paid
scenes, he
good
was
money.
like, he didn't want
he
to
was
say it was a
52
paycheck
when he
movie.
made that movie.
I
Anyway, sorry, I'm
mean,
getting ahead of myself.
that was the beginning of the glory days. Like he was just getting started.
He was just getting
No Country for Old Men wasn't even a glimmer in his eye. Like,
oh god. All right, okay. Round 1 plot. Jesus Christ.
Are you ready?
since we're pitting film versus film, we want to give you an overview of each film before we get into the details. Volcano, directed by Mike Jackson in 1997, written by Leslie Bohem. This film was released by 20th Century Fox on April 25th, 1997. It's got a runtime of 104 minutes, budget of $90 million, and box office gross around $122 million. Their tagline was, Volcano, it's hotter than hell. A volcano erupts in downtown Los Angeles, and a city official, Mike Rourke, and a seismologist, I don't remember Inhesh's name, try to stop an inevitable flow through the city. They can't even say lava in the fucking description.
I know. We're going to get to that. But yeah, they don't even say fucking lava.
Okay. All right. Volcano. I think we got the basics of that.
Our second film is Dante's Peak. It was directed by Roger Donaldson, written by Jerome Armstrong and Billy Ray. It came out on February 7th, 1997. Has a runtime of 109 minutes. And the budget was $116 million, and its box office was around $178 million. It was released by Universal Studios. The premise of Dante's Peak is, according to IMDb, a volcanologist arrives at a countryside town recently named the second most desirable place to live in America, and discovers that the long-dormant volcano, Dante's Peak, may wake up at any moment. The tagline is, exploding soon.
No, it's not.
I swear to God.
No, it's not.
I swear, yes.
Please tell me.
Yeah, it's exploding soon.
That feels pornographic. No
Dante's Peak. That's not bad, right?
The Peak.
All right. So, what is his name? Tommy Lee Jones' character.
Mike. His name is Mike.
Mike Rourke.
Mike Rourke. Okay, so first of all, let me just call out the difference in the vibe of the movies from literally the opening moment. in Volcano, from the 20th century logo, it swipes up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It is like,
Yes, that's right.
ooh, it's a taste of like the level.
It's so fucking cheesy.
Oh, it just, right off the get-go.
And then it starts with the text. Just letting you know.
Right.
That when this shit goes down, he's in charge. Like, he is in charge of police, firefighters. He's the director of, like...
You're going to trust Tommy Lee Jones' character, Mike. He is the guy you go to. He was very reminiscent, and I will circle back to this at some point, but I feel like he was very reminiscent of Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
And they like the original one
Okay.
is fucking awesome because you get this behind the scenes, like how the trains work and how the guys interact and how
okay.
everyone
Yeah,
on the
yeah, okay. I see
team
what you're
helps
saying.
make everything happen. And so like you're seeing how
Right.
good he is at his job. But in this case, I feel like what's interesting is really it just makes Don Cheadle look really good at his
Right.
job, like his right-hand man. And in both films, the lead men
Right.
are supposed to be on vacation.
Right. So weird.
Why? What a bizarre similarity.
Right. And they're both alone. They have no partner. Right.
No.
They're both on vacation. They're out of vacation. They're pulled out of vacation.
Right. They're supposed to be on vacation, but they're choosing to go into the office because
Right.
disaster struck yet again, which is going to happen no matter what. That's why they're supposed to be taking a vacation. Like, disaster's still going to happen. Like, if
Right.
a firefighter is going on vacation, there's still fires.
Right. And, and what you realize immediately is that Mike Rourke sucks at breakfast. He sucks at being a dad. And Pierce Brosnan is like
He's
doing
just trying.
push-ups to like
Oh my
get over
God.
his grief. So it's like, holy shit, what a difference.
They really handled their trauma differently, didn't they?
Yeah, one just doesn't know he's a fucking terrible dad, and the other one's just like, he's like, answer the, and then Dante speaks, is like, answer the machine. Answer the machine. Fuck, Harry. Answer the
I
machine.
know you're there.
I know you're
Are you
there,
sure
dude.
you're not there?
Fuck.
Last chance.
And you see the, well, actually, but,
I
but,
did
but
not.
actually the very
His form, I was kind of surprised for James Bond. I didn't really
Yeah.
know if his push-up form was on point. Not that I have good push-up form.
Yeah, but actually Dante's Peak, the way that movie starts is fucked up.
Bites it hard with a meteor in the head.
Yeah.
that was
That was fucking intense.
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah. No, it
Yeah.
started hard.
Yeah. So, so we established these characters. They have no partner. They've had, one of them's divorced, going through family issues. The other one is still grieving the death of this partner that he had.
Both workaholics.
Both workaholics. We later learned from Dante's Peak that Harry Dalton's character that they weren't married, but there probably was that future that they were going to get married. Volcano, there's earthquakes happening. We see stuff down in the sewer.
Yeah.
That's going down. And Dante's Peak, they just don't like the readings of that fucking volcano. Now, something else is going on here. I want to get in there. Something's not quite right. And these are the only people that seem to be gravely concerned about the situation.
Well, and you're getting very much the city versus the country in these two movies.
Right,
Like
right,
you
right.
get so much yak in the beginning of LA vibes, city vibes,
Oh, yeah.
traffic. Like it's super fun, like time capsule LA. In Dante's Peak, you're getting the lake and the small town
Right.
that's getting an award for being the second
Yeah,
best
yeah.
small
Well,
town.
I think it's
You're
a
not
good
even the
touch.
best.
I think it's a good
It's
touch, though.
smart.
It's a really
really
good touch.
smart. It's real cute. It's all kitschy. Like the mayor owns the shop.
Yeah.
And makes coffee for everyone.
In Dante's Peak, it has better stakes because it's like, it's a small town. We need the money. We can't do this. There's an actual, like...
The 7 million people in Los Angeles, they're expendable to you.
Yeah, it's just like there's real... But
No, but in the beginning...
what I'm getting at is with Volcano, the reason they don't want to tell people it's more like bureaucratic shit. Or it's like...
Totally.
There's no real, like... You don't get a sense of, like, and nothing bad's going to happen. Whereas with Dante's Peak, you understand, there's real, financial consequences. There's, like, the town could go under if it's put on alert. That's, like, a really good, reason to, like, shut him down.
It's also interesting, too, because Volcano's happening really fast. Like, the timeline is just a day or two.
Right.
You're just really fast. Whereas in Dante's Peak, they do something where they kind of dial it back. And it makes everyone doubt the geologist because he's saying this is weird. This is weird. And the boss is like, okay, but we can't panic everyone because we'd have to evacuate the entire town and it would become a lava river right towards the town. All these bad things. But then they're like, nothing happened for a week. We're going to stick it out. We're going to check it out.
Right.
And then that happened real fast. And then it goes from 0 to 60. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, Harry was right.
Yeah.
Harry was right. This was weird. But it happens slowly and then really fast. Whereas in Volcano, once it starts, it's boom, 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 boom.
Well, it's interesting too because Dante's Peak, we're with him. We're on Harry Dalton's side because it's like, okay, he's seen some shit in his past life from like 3 years ago, so we know he's really good at this job. So when he has these warning signs, we're on his side when people are antagonizing him, like, no, this and that. So I'm on his side.
Yeah.
Whereas in Volcano, Mike Rourke is sort of like, I'm not really on his side.
He's kind of the skeptic too.
He's a skeptic.
He's kind of like, no, this can't be happening.
Right.
You can't have a volcano in LA.
And
which
but even when Anne Heche's character comes in and is trying to convince him, like, even then he's like, when she's like, it might be lava, and he's just like, get the fuck out of my face. Like,
lava.
It's like we understand that.
I love that everyone dances around saying lava.
Yeah,
like
that was my point too. Yeah.
Like,
there's something coming out of the red carpets, man.
Liquid. You mean lava?
Yeah, it might be lava. I don't know.
Oh no, it couldn't be lava. Okay, but it's definitely lava. It's lava. It's lava, guys. Confirmed. Oh, I'm burning up. It's lava.
Yeah. Listen, I'm aware that this would never happen. Okay.
Yeah.
Mike Rourke is not smart. Okay. He at one point is like, why don't we evacuate the city? And he's like, we can't do that. It's like, why not?
You could try.
You try.
You could get a few people
Tell
out.
fucking people to leave. There's lava.
You could warn people.
But he's just like, no, we can't do that. Are you crazy?
There's too many of us. We'll just all die together.
It's like, that was not on his mind. Whereas in Dante's Peak, that wasn't like, we got to, like, his priority was saving these fucking people.
Immediately, he was like, this whole town is under threat. Get everyone out now. And his boss is like, well, I got in some political hot water once before. Let's hold off a week.
I do want to bring up, there's a scene in Volcano that I had to rewind several times because it was fucking hilarious. Unintentionally hilarious.
Oh, no. Which one? Which one?
It's the scene where he says you have to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then after she leaves, he's like, I need a radio. I need a radio, man. And no one's giving him a radio. And yet there's a helicopter, like, with a camera that's focused on him. And you just see Tommy Lee Jones running around. They're like, look at this poor guy. Look at him try. Look, it's a disaster going down. Let this guy can't. He's running around crazy. And it's like that. How humiliating that he's the director and you just see him running around and he never finds the radio.
Don Cheadle hit it. Don Cheadle hit it to look good.
Don Cheadle's looking at him through the fucking footage, and he's just like, man, oh man, like, what a tough fucking day for this guy, you know? So that was just fucking hilarious. I had to rewind like 3 times. I just thought it was the best. It was so fucking funny.
Okay, both movies do this where smart, intelligent people drive vehicles through lava.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. I will say the third act of Dante's Peak falls apart a little bit for me.
It's just like, let's throw all the action at the wall. It's just, there's so much happening with the set piece that they built, and it's so cool that it's like, just let it be that. It feels like the mine feels like a little extra.
Yeah.
And
but driving through the lava, I mean,
driving through the lava was crazy. It was cool to watch, but it's like, would you have done that, man?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
You know the tires are going to burn immediately. And how did that car not explode like every other car we've seen try and go through the lava? One more thing we have to talk about in the ridiculous pantheon of Volcano, which I'm a big fan of this plot line, is Volcano has this plot, like, Volcano has a pretty cool cast for the time. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of women, a lot of diversity, like, you know, and obviously pushed that to its limit the way they end it, which but I love that they have an actual woman doctor who the guy pawns his daughter off on. Hilarious.
Oh, yeah, okay.
One of my enjoyable plot lines is John Corbett, baby John Corbett, has just built $100 million building right in the quarter of the Beverly Center.
Right.
He's so proud. He's taken out so many loans to make this beautiful fucking building of condos that'll be super fucking expensive. He's so proud of it. There's not and eventually they blow it up.
Right.
You know, the lava funnels all towards it and it blows up and it's fucking glorious. But you know what's not glorious is they don't show John Corbett on the side of the road fucking weeping while it happens.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
Such a missed opportunity. I want to see him
I thought
sad.
they should have done a moment where he's actually like, wait, what the fuck are you guys doing? That's my building.
I'm sure they cut that scene at some point.
I'm sure. Maybe they did. You're right. Maybe they did film it. But that was missing because, like...
You want the satisfaction. Like, this fucking asshole asked his smart, talented... hero doctor wife to step away from the ER during a volcanic emergency in Los Angeles so they can go sit in their condo.
Right.
And you want to see him cry while his building burns down.
I think that was a missed opportunity.
So disappointed.
I did think, and then he was also, you know, the way he was also set up that way because also he said shit like, you know, he said shit like, you know, I don't like you being around these kinds of people. They're dirty. Like he was set up to be a villain. So you want that
and like, I mean, all this debt, I leveraged everything I have. Like, well, maybe you shouldn't have done that, man. Like,
right.
Now
so
it's a volcano.
I 100% agree with you in that we were on the same page.
The lava has stopped. Everyone's covered in ash. The cute little kid comes out and says, I don't know what my mama looks like. Everyone looks the same, you know, like, where's my mama? Like, everyone looks the same. And, you know, like...
I literally said out loud when that moment came when the kid was like, we all look the same. And the cop looks around and he's just like, wow, yeah. I literally said out loud, like, look at this. The volcano's bringing people together. They're bringing them together, man. When you compare the characters of Mike Rourke and Harry Dalton, Mike is just not smart. And then the way his plan to stop the lava, Well, thank
God he had a smart doctor woman, you know, scientist to tell him what to do. She would come in out of nowhere and just throw a lot of science terms.
Oh, yeah.
But then she and her, okay, this is where, again, the science wins in Dante's Peak. She and her buddy are going down and sitting on top of fissures and thinking that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, don't you know how hot it is here?
Although I do want to give credit to Anne Hesh there, her performance after her friend dies. That was pretty damn good. Like, just the shock and her kind of making peace with, like, not even
And then
peace.
she moved on.
Yeah.
She moved on quick.
I'm glad that they actually had, like, a moment where they let her kind of express that devastation, you know? So that was really good. That was a good moment.
She was really, you know... The rapport that she has with Tommy Lee Jones is really great. I like Anne Heche.
But I don't buy Tommy Lee Jones and Anne Heche
I don't know
together.
why you got to have a romance.
No,
like,
fuck that.
It's
I don't
more.
buy that.
I think it's more believable in Dante's Peak. They're there for longer. It's quieter. It's not.
I just feel like also.
But either way, I was like, why do you got to make it a romance? But
right.
back then, it was like the same. And look, we're going to get there too. Like, look at Armageddon and Deep Impact. You got to shove a romance in those movies too. Like, isn't the world ending enough? Like, nope. They got to fall in love. We got to end it with a kiss. Like, do we?
Although, you know, these movies didn't. We didn't see them kiss. You know, we didn't see these.
In Dante's Peak, you did. In Dante's Peak,
yeah, but it was sort of
right
like
at the end. It's like kind of a.
But they didn't really focus on it that much.
They went on a date like night 2, man. Like, she invited him over and cooked him like eggplant parmesan and had red wine.
No, I'm not saying there wasn't a romance. I'm just saying that we didn't see the kiss. The kiss wasn't like a big fucking moment.
That's true.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
There was definitely romance, and I also feel like Pierce Brosnan and Linda Hamilton had way better chemistry. Than fucking Tommy Lee Jones and Anne
just
Heche.
the age gap. Like, what was that?
Yeah.
Like, and look, people can date different age people, but when you're making making a blockbuster movie where you can cast anyone you want.
Yeah.
Let her fall in love with Don Cheadle, man. You know, like I don't know.
Don Cheadle looks exactly the same. That's crazy. That
God,
dude is,
he's so cool.
Yeah,
he's
nice.
so effortless. His wardrobe in that's great.
Yeah, he's great.
real quippy.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Talk
cool
about
scene.
someone that's good at their job and you like watching them on screen. He was great. He's really good.
Yeah.
And the supporting cast, like this guy from The Wire, just chilling in the back of the command center, like totally underutilized.
Right.
You know, there's just some really good supporting cast in these movies that are just kind of throwaways, but are awesome actors.
Yeah.
That now you know, but back then they're just like, who's the lady in the on Dante's Peak, the like nosy Nelly friend that just drives by in her truck and sees him like, you know, flirting. It's like, oop, now the whole town's gonna know.
And that brings me to the grandmother in Dante's Peak.
Let's talk about the grandmother.
So,
Let's talk about the grandmother.
Look, the first time I saw Dante's Peak, I was like 10 years old. And that fucking scene traumatized me. That boat scene, terrifying.
Okay, so what happens is so like we'll go a little back to plot to circle into grandma. They're evacuating the entire town. Pretty much everyone's out. Harry and the mayor are like, we got to go back and get my kids. And lo and behold, the kids are like, well, we got to go get Granny, who's at the top of the fucking volcano, because she's too stubborn to move her ass off the mountain. And the kids drive the truck, which is crazy because it seems like they're 12, if that.
Yeah.
Like these are young kids, and they steal their mom's truck and drive up the volcano that's exploding ash towards Grandma's house to rescue Grandma from the volcano. Love it. Love everything about it.
Yeah.
They get through an acidic lake in a tiny boat that starts melting.
Yeah.
It's acidic enough that the boat is melting the metal boat. The like propeller melts off. That was fucking tense too.
That was intense.
It's all very tense. The dock is still, 20 feet away. The kids are screaming. The little girl is like so intense. And she's like, Grandma, we're not going to make it. And we're all like, shut up, kid. They're trying their best.
He's like, yeah, we're going to make it. We're going to make it.
He's like, it's fine. And the only one that steps up, baller grandma, fucking gets out of the boat and walks her ass through the acidic water. What's craziest to me about this scene is she doesn't die right then and there.
I know.
I would see why it's traumatic.
Yeah, it's a slow death.
They think she's dead. They're all crying, and then she's still like, they're carrying her down the fucking mountain. And then later, she's like, leave me here. Like, why didn't you just kill her there? You, like, Grandma was like, you're using me. I'm getting at least a week-long contract, so you better use me. Like, she was great, though. She was really good.
Honestly, those sequences with the kids, man, they cracked me up because they were just telling the truth. We're not going to fucking make it, man. We're dead. We're going down.
Talk about some positivity. Your mom's fucking Linda Hamilton. You're going to be fine.
But the same thing happened in Volcano with his daughter. She's like, we're not going to make it, Dad. We're not going to make it.
Shout out to Gabby Hoffman.
Oh, yeah.
Who's so fucking great in this.
Yeah, and I don't want to forget this, but I also want to shout out Jamie Renee Smith, who played the little girl in Dante's Peak. Jamie, I met her, Jamie, at UCLA. We went to UCLA Theater School together. She acted in a short film of mine, and she's a sweetheart. She's a great person and really, really fucking talented. So,
she's
Jamie,
intense.
I see you, Jamie. I see you, Jamie.
We're
She
giving
did a
you a
great
shout
job.
out.
Yeah,
she scared the shit out of me in the boat scene, man.
Yeah, she was.
I was like,
fucking,
get out of the boat.
Yeah, she was fantastic, and she actually looks like Linda Hamilton's daughter.
Yeah, no,
You know,
those kids were both. I thought it was like really well cast, really, really good, really excellent job.
Yeah, I think she was like 9 or 10 when she did that. I'm not 100% sure.
So impressive.
I reached out to you, Jamie. I sent you a text. You didn't reply. It's all right. You're probably like...
You're welcome anytime.
You're probably like, this fucking guy. This guy wants me to act in shit again.
Wants me to talk about my method.
Yeah. Is Pierce Brosnan really that handsome? Or,
Yeah, you know, they're really playing up the cargo vest. Like, he's the quiet kind of handsome in this. He's the science-y kind of handsome in this.
Oh, yeah.
Really, just put some hair gel on the man. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Extra other shout out to cast member Grant Heslov. Grant Heslov Just a big fan of Grant
Yeah, he's
Heslov, no
great.
matter what. Producer, writer, action movie, cameo star. One of my favorite things is him in True Lies. Just a huge fan of
he's
his
great.
like
He's
random
fucking
cameos
amazing.
in 90 movies. Big.
Our guest today is veteran visual effects supervisor Pat McClung. Pat McClung has been nominated twice for an Academy Award for Best Effects and Visual Effects for Armageddon in 1999 and Best Effects Visual Effects for True Lies in 1994. Pat's visual effects background started in the 1980s, and he's worked on films such as Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Aliens, and Apollo 13. Pat worked on Dante's Peak. He was a visual effects supervisor for that movie, and he knew a lot of the crew that worked on Volcano. Producers were looking for a visual effects supervisor and specialist for Dante's Peak, and they hired Pat McClung for this film. We were happy to talk to Pat and discuss his extensive work in Dante's Peak.
I really knew very little about volcanoes, and we had some volcanologists that were on the set, and I talked to them quite a bit about, what goes on. I didn't, because there's the pyroclastic cloud. I didn't know what that was. The whole thing about visual effects back then is, when you're figuring things out, you think, here's a process we're going to use, and it should work based on previous experience. We're going to build this and do that, and this goes there, and this explodes, and that, and it should all work. And there's only one thing that I've done that didn't really work, and it was this giant volcano that we built.
Oh.
And one problem with it that I didn't anticipate is if it's 45-degree angle when you're looking up. It's weird. If you look up a 45-degree angle at the volcano, it looks flat. Because clouds look like cloud. If you look like this way or that way, clouds sort of look the same. So there's no visual cue to tell you it's uphill. There's no house or telephone poles so it really, we used some of it, but the weakest shots, unfortunately, are the very beginning, where you see sort of a matte painting, and it's
that funnel explosion part.
This is the first shot when you see when Harry Dalton first comes to town. You see you start up on the mountain and you tilt down to
yes.
Yeah, okay.
And I go, I watched it. I go, it was. I felt that way when we were doing it, but it was a time issue. It was just, I would have gone back and tried to build something smaller and done something else, which we had a little more time, but we were sort of stuck with it. It was part real and part Photoshop and so forth. And the later shots are better. When you see the girl, the woman who's the other. The volcanologist, you see it behind her.
Yeah.
Successful. But that first shot was just
It's funny when you work on stuff, though, there's always stuff that's going to bug you that the average person watching is never going to notice, right? Like, I feel that way still.
Absolutely. And so that one, I thought we just have to live with it, because it was a time issue. It just literally was down to hours sometimes with some of these shots. It was that bad. But the problem is that Fox had Volcano.
Mm.
And usually somebody will give, if they have similar movies, usually someone will go the next year. One of the studios, this happened quite a bit, but they didn't. They just kept pulling the dates forward on the delivery dates of the movie. Between Universal, Dante's Peak, and Fox with Volcano, and they just kept getting, and that was having, a huge impact on the budget and time and everything, and it was what I call pissing match between the studio heads, I guess. I don't know why.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask. Is that, in your opinion, why did you think that happened? Why do you think in this case,
ego?
Was it about ego?
I can't say for sure, but having worked in the business, probably, most likely.
Feels like a solid bet.
Yeah.
A solid bet.
Well, there could be other things that I wasn't privy to, but that's what happens. But
It is interesting. It does seem like for a long time the pattern was to delay or stagger more. And there was this period of the late 90s to early 2000s where there was a different competitiveness about the box office. And in Volcano Dante's Peak case, there was actually lying and false press releases about who was done filming and who was coming to theaters earlier. I mean, that's a different level of competitiveness that's unusual for films like that.
Yeah, and so it got to the point where I told it was Scott Ross and I said, I don't know if we could actually do this in the time period, because it was huge miniatures and big stuff, and they stopped, and finally Universal shifted their date, but we were stuck now. We had that date and we had to meet it.
Is there certain things that, I mean, you mentioned the opening shot, but is there other things that you look at and you're like, man, if we only had more time, I could have made this so much. I could have kept finessing it. I could have kept making it better.
Well, there's a wide shot where you see the truck driving down through the street after it's driven over the lava.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's like 3 or 4 miniatures that were shot different scales in motion control, because the buildings, there was large scale buildings in the foreground and then the small town in the background. They were shot separately.
Oh.
Truck was it was probably 2 foot wide. We just did it on the floor. There was a rail that was covered in like our ash material. And that was shot separately from the town. And then all the pyroclastic stuff was shot separately as well. And we were down to, I just needed one more pass with the compositor to finesse some of the edges back. And she did a great job on sort of blending together the foreground buildings, the whole town, and the car. I made sure it was smooth and where the street was, so she could blend the materials together. But it was just, we saw the shot and I thought, those edges are kind of hard. But we were like out of time. They said, no, it has to go in the movie. The negative it cut in like right now. It was like that with some of these shots.
What Dante's Peak did, actually, that was, because as you mentioned earlier, Volcano kind of goes into the action as soon as possible, But Dante's Peak, the Volcano doesn't go off until like an hour into the movie.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty ballsy to do that, because
it was more of a Jaws model. You're really holding out. Well, and I think it's effective in the sense that it makes you question, like, that as a viewer, you're turning on the movie, like, the volcano's going to explode.
Right.
Right. But you have had faith in this guy, Harry.
Yeah.
Like, Harry's right. It's science. And then, like, all of a sudden the bosses are like, well, it's been a week. Nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Are you sure, Harry? And even you are like, well, are we sure?
Right.
I mean, I think they really control the viewer's emotions and care about that a lot more in Dante's Peak. Whereas in Volcano, it's just like, shit's going down. We're going to melt some people.
Right. And I also feel like, I think with Dante's Peak, I think they wanted to, they had a much more scientific approach. And I feel like they were actually dealing with the mountain. Whereas I think, with Volcano, I think they kind of have to embrace this is ridiculous. The lava
in the tubes and the subway. They're
different. Yeah.
The better, because in Dante's Peak, you're getting the visuals of the dam breaking, the actual volcano exploding and the ash coming up. That happens pretty quick in Dante's Peak. Volcano, you're watching the tar pits bubble up. You're watching, lava that disappears. It feels more like the goo in Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
The pink goo under the city. It doesn't feel like a mountain you're fighting ahead of you. The LA one, the subway stuff is hard to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Sweating with these people stuck in a lava tube in a broken down.
Yeah, that's
like
probably
subway
the scary
tube
sequence. Yeah,
it's stressful.
In Volcano, where they're in the metro, the underground.
Oh, yeah.
out and he slowly sinks like the Wicked Witch of the West,
It's like Terminator or RoboCop. It's like somebody melting, is horrible death. Oh.
and you're going to fall face first in it, and it's going to be that, there was some stuff like that was, and when I see stuff in movies that goes against physics, it bothers me. I've done a lot of it because that's what was necessary for the storyline. But that was just sort of ridiculous, some of that.
Well, and I think you can directly parallel that to this, the grandmother, which comes off as super intense and really genuine. And she doesn't even die right then. There's kind of this delay effect, which all feels more genuine than.
Well, she redeems herself because she stayed up there and caused that whole problem. And, her staying was based on a guy named Harry Truman that was up at a called Crystal Lake below Mount St. Helens. It's this old guy. He would not leave.
Named Harry Truman.
Harry Truman. And they interviewed him. I'm not leaving. Well, he's buried under 300 feet of ash.
He didn't want to leave his mountain.
So that character, no doubt, came from, that was the roots of that character, where she wouldn't leave because she lived there her whole life. But she saves them in the acid lake by jumping in the water at the very end and pulling the boat to safety.
Yeah. And
then you could get rid of a character that way.
There's only so much room in the truck, y'all.
And one thing about Mount St. Helens that when it exploded at the very top was a permanent, like permafrost. It never melted. There was always a thick layer of ice and snow up there. And when the volcano went, it melted all this stuff. So all of this water collected ash and started coming down from the mountain and going through all the rivers and so forth. And it was the consistency of like a chocolate malt. It was like, they said it was like liquid concrete. And it just everything. It plowed through everything. And so that's the basis of the whole bridge sequence. It's called the Lahar.
Well, and watching in the behind the scenes, some of the dam break and how you're adding some of the miniature trees and making sure that consistency and color is as accurate as possible. All that stuff really reads on the screen.
We had like little bridges across that had people pushing debris, sticks, and you name it. And it was quite an operation. But to sort of go back, it was it was all based on storyboards that were developed early on, not by us, but by the production. And they were, very general. And, at some point we knew we needed a river and a bridge and the Humvees crossing it. So pretty much the whole layout of this was designed by George Trimmer. George designed it and showed us pictures of study models, and Roger must have seen it at some point. I don't remember. I'm sure he did, and we signed off on it. But to get double duty out of the giant tank, there were two hydraulically controlled doors that let the water out. So on one side was the water that would go into the river. On the other side, sort of the other third, was the door that would open to the water to the dam.
The stuff behind the scenes is honestly astonishing because
for both films.
Yeah, I mean for films. Both. I know this was like before, computer like CGI really took over both films. They built miniatures.
A lot of miniature work on both.
The way they built the lava, but also, to me, the most impressive scene in Dante's Peak was, and I couldn't believe it was a miniature, was when the dam scene.
It's crazy.
I really thought they rigged something in real life.
It's crazy.
And when I saw the behind the scenes and the way they did it was just so fucking cool. It felt so real. I felt like that's really happening.
And it's this monster sequence back to back to back. So you're getting the freeway collapsing while people are trying to escape.
Yeah.
There's a bridge. The water is coming over the dam. The dam's exploding. People are trying to get out. The bridge is getting swept away. People are like that. None of this even accounts for the volcano still happening. I mean, so many layers. The tank that they used for the water release was 680,000 gallons.
Wow.
With 7 million pounds of water running through it.
Fuck.
They rolled 11 cameras, 3 of which failed. by the way.
Damn.
And they did it all in one shot.
I started this question for me of like, everything's so digital these days, and some of it looks spectacular, but just the way I really, was so convinced with Dante's Peak that they like blew up this town and blew up, like, I just didn't even second guess it. And
It's very
I just feel like in today's movies, you could probably spot that. You'd be like, oh, okay, this is fake. It's, But it makes a big, at least for me as a filmmaker, but also as a viewer, it makes a world of a difference to be able to watch something and feel like it's actually fucking happening. It's actually there. And that damn scene really was like, whoa, this is amazing. This is like really, really incredible.
It was so cinematic, and you can tell, like, and because there's all these cameras rolling, it's not like it's just one static shot. I mean, they're cutting all around for all this different action, and you are just getting every piece of everything going on to this poor little town.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Volcano, they
Volcano,
recreated it. They recreated the
built Wilshire Boulevard. I mean, they took over a parking lot and built acres of Wilshire Boulevard like to scale.
Yeah.
That is the craziest thing I've ever seen, to scale. And they burned it all to the ground.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Impressive, crazy impressive. And they delivered that entire this is a city block that is massive. It's like, it's not just the heart of LA, it's the museums. It's these giant imposing buildings that are very iconic, and they built it in 12 weeks. And they were supposed to deliver in 16, and they delivered it ahead of schedule. Yeah. I mean, construction people are just incredible. Oh, yeah. They built a town.
Yeah,
in 12
shout out
weeks.
to construction department. Those guys are the salt of the earth. They're really great people, but they work their asses off. Like on movie sets, it's pretty incredible what they build.
I highly recommend watching the behind the scenes. Some of the stuff they pulled from the VHS you can find on YouTube, and they talk about. I mean, they put in every park bench, every mailbox, every curb. They built a town.
Volcano versus Dante's Peak.
Let's pick a winner. Who's the winner?
So Pat, you've seen Volcano as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So
You know it's coming.
so which of those two? I mean, you might have a bias because you worked on Dante's Peak, but which of those films do you like better?
Well, I like Dante's Peak because it's just a better film.
Yeah.
Why? Not that, Volcano was just weak. Was sort of a weak. It was sort of thin characters. You know what I mean? Sort of.
They seem to go more message based than character based.
And it was just like, oh, the lava's coming slowly.
It's somewhere under the city.
I think at the end of the day, Dante's Peak has to get the crown here because
it's just a better movie. It
just holds up a little better. I think one thing that's interesting that films we're selecting now, some of them you feel that they're dated and the VFX or this or that, or even just the way they talk in certain ways, situations, or the whiteness of something, like whatever it is, there are things that you notice that kind of take you out of the moment.
Yeah.
I think with Dante's Peak, it was like still a solid action movie that holds up. And for me,
100% agree.
Yeah, that for me, I think one of my biggest things I pick a winner on is rewatchability.
Yeah.
Like, how much am I going to revisit this film?
I would definitely rewatch Dante's Peak again.
Would definitely rewatch.
I would not rewatch Volcano.
I've watched Volcano 2 or 3 times in my life now. I feel like I'm good. Yeah, I feel like I will watch Dante's Peak again. It was a solid action film. For me, It goes in this fun pantheon of these kind of comedic, like these movies that, it's weird because it takes itself very seriously and is very well done, but it kind of falls into the category of a few other movies of that era, which were a lot more campy and subversive, like Tremors and Lake Placid. Which are just 2 of my favorites from that era. These fun action movies. Oh, Twister. Again, you have this good team, this fun supporting cast.
Yeah.
The action, once it goes, it just keeps moving. I think both movies have that, but I just think the execution is better on Dante's Peak in terms of the overall look and feel of it. And Yeah, the effects.
And like you had mentioned earlier too, a better ending.
Better ending. Yeah, they're not trying to shove some message down your throat,
No.
which back then, a lot of movies weren't doing. In the 90s, I think they were really trying to be a little subversive in their own way by doing that. But I think it just comes off too cheesy to really be effective.
Yeah, honestly, the ending Volcano made me furious. Like, it does that whole text of like Mount Wilshire.
Mount Wilshire elevation, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and then
like,
it goes to everybody. It's like,
oh my God. I
Stop.
fucking forgot that's
Stop
how it
that.
ended. That was so upsetting.
I love LA.
No, I
It's
hate
ironic.
that fucking song.
Yeah.
Doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh, I forgot
Yeah,
about that.
I was Furiosa.
No, yeah, that was such a weird tonal ending shift. It was like, whew, we
Yeah, what
just
the
survived the apocalypse in LA. Let's play some Randy Newman. I'm like, what?
But yeah, Mike Rourke is awful. I'm sure he was fired after that. I mean, because he was really bad at his job. Just like fucking atrocious.
Like you're going on permanent vacation, Mike.
Yeah.
Whereas also,
If I were who that was the mayor, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you're fucking fired.
yeah,
Mike.
where's Mike going on vacation?
Right.
Where is he going?
Palmdale.
And he's leaving his daughter with a sitter.
Like,
Okay.
it's just,
Whereas with Dante's Peak, the dude's getting they're getting like crushed in the mine or whatever, and he's promising the kids they're going to be okay. And you're going to survive and you're going to be okay. And he's like promising the kids the world.
yeah, we're going
And
to go fishing and shit.
We're going to go deep sea fishing in Florida. I don't know why that's your golden standard for surviving, because I'm not surviving and going to fucking Florida. Like, you couldn't even say Baja? Like, Bahamas? Like, what is it there? Like,
But also,
it's
like-
just we're going to go on a family trip. We're going to, like,
Also
survive.
very presumptuous.
Very.
Because he's like, now we're a family.
Yeah.
We're all going. It's like, dude,
We've been on one
Back
date,
up.
bitch.
back
Like,
up.
you're lucky you even met my kids, and now you're proposing a family vacay? We haven't had 2 dates yet.
Also, we're in a mine, sir. You are not helping me.
We're
Fishing.
all gonna die
We're
together.
gonna fucking die. Don't talk to me about fishing right now, man.
But he is handsome.
Yeah,
He is
that'll do it.
handsome.
No, but yeah, but but that, to go back to what you were saying, that fucking scene where he's getting crushed in the car is really fucking intense.
I just was watching it, just squirming in my seat, like
Yeah.
getting in a little fetal ball. Like,
But
getting
I
real
do
small.
feel you about the, turning on the alert thing. But yeah, that means he was fucking in there for
with
a
your
day
with
or
your
two.
bone sticking out of your arm. He probably just passed out for most of it.
Honestly, probably.
Or
yeah.
like
I would've thrown
honestly,
up.
Linda Hamilton had it way worse, being stuck with the kids in a mine for 2 days and just a couple chips down there. Like they
I
had to
definitely
be
would have been
cranky.
like, click the thing on and just been like, oh God, oh God.
Let it all out.
I would have been covered in vomit when they fucking took me out. I would
I
just.
would have been the guy that was dead on the bridge. Like I got swept away with the fucking van because I tried to stay and fix it
That shit was
politically. Like I
crazy,
don't
man.
know.
So the clear winner.
Clear
is
winner.
Dante's Peak.
Dante's Peak. Sorry, Volcano.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Volcano.
yeah. No, it's
No disrespect to that cast and crew. We know you guys put a lot of effort, hard work into it.
it's a good movie. It's
Yeah.
a good movie.
What, Volcano?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Like B minus.
I got it.
You're giving it a hard C. Maybe a D. How far are you going on
I
that?
think I'm gonna give it a D.
Wow.
I'm gonna give Dante's a B. Peak. I'm gonna give Dante's Peak.
Dante's Peak.
I'm gonna give Dante's Peak like a B plus.
B plus for Dante's Peak. That feels accurate.
Yeah.
That feels accurate. Yeah. Honestly, maybe even an A minus. I feel like, if you cut 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because compared to action movies today, it's still pretty short. I mean, I think it was like an hour 50.
Yeah. It wasn't.
It was
wasn't-
pretty short, all
Yeah,
things
because the
considered.
disaster stuff was like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was fucking fast.
It was very fast.
Yeah. Our next episode will be Ants versus A Bug's Life.
And make sure to follow our Instagram.
Yeah, we'll be doing the Capote ones, the Armageddon and Deep Impact.
The magician
Prestige.
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
magician
magician ones.
So please follow along.
And if you want to vote for your favorite of these two films, you can go on the Instagram and join the poll, and y'all can try and fight us on it.
Yeah, please vote. I mean, if you guys like Volcano more than Dante's Peak, I'd be really curious to hear why. I'm going to give a special thanks to my sister Monica Sandoval for creating the graphics for Twin Films.